Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here to bring you a Tip Tuesday. We're going to work together on a wig. This is a Lemon Wigs budget-friendly wig. I just recently reviewed 3 bobs with bangs. This is the copper bronzy kind of one. And in my review, I talked about my challenges with the curl pattern. I talked about my challenges with the bangs, and I talked about my challenges with this top here. So we're going to try to work on this together. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make this look great or not, but we're going to try, and I'm going to show you some of the things I'm going to try, and hopefully this will be an encouragement to you to work with your wigs and not be afraid. Keep in mind, budget-friendly wigs can be challenging. They can come with some things that aren't perfect that you may need to work with. So if you're operating on a budget, it's really important that you learn how to work with your wigs. Or if you just want to try some budget-friendly wigs, maybe I'll give you some tools for your toolbox. Stick around, we'll do this together. So I'll put this on for you guys and we'll talk about the things I'm hoping to, if not fully transform, at least improve. But before I do that, I'll tell you that I have on my head Girl Mono by Ellen Villa. This is in the color Saffron Red Rooted. I absolutely love Girl Mono, one of my favorite all-time curly wigs. And since it's fall, the reds are coming out again. I absolutely love this. It is just one of the best curly wigs ever. So one of my favorites. But let's put this one on. And actually, I meant to grab a wig grip because this is really big on me. I'm going to stick these adjusters in. I may have to pause this and go get myself a wig grip because if I'm going to do any work on my head with this, I'm going to need something to hold it on. All right. So you can see it's not super out of the box. What I'd like to transform. First of all, the bangs, not an issue. Those will be easy to trim up and then take a hot airbrush and give a little lift to. But it's this curl pattern I'm struggling with. It's just really, really not great. And the other 2 that I got in my review, if you've not seen that yet, I'll link that below. The other 2 had great waves. So this is just an unlucky thing. Now, if you order a budget-friendly wig like this and they offer returns, you can return it and get another one and see if maybe you get a better curl pattern. You know, sometimes wigs come with box hair, cold crimping. This looks like cold crimping to me. Cold crimping or cold setting, they're the same. Happens sometimes to wigs when they live in a box and they go through lots of temperature fluctuations. You don't know what the life of a wig that you got has been. How long has it been in the box? How many places has it been? You know, has it been in a hot truck and then went into an air-cooled warehouse? Or was it, you know, in a truck in the middle of winter and then it went into a heated warehouse? I mean, it's just really hard to know. So cold crimping can be challenging, but I do have some videos where I show you how to handle it with just simple styling tools. And so these luckily are heat friendly, so I don't have to be as careful as I would with a regular synthetic. And I have a video where I dealt with cold crimping on a regular synthetic. So I'll try to remember to link that below so you can go check it out. It just helps you on your wig journey to have some of this information. The third thing I want to deal with is this. So all of these wigs come with this plastic piece up here to mimic part because it doesn't have any type of monofilament. I mean, these are around $20, between $20 and $30. I don't know how much we can really realistically expect. And I think, you know, bravo for trying to make it look like a part. And so one of the things I want to do is see if I can get this to be less pointy. Maybe to just flatten out a little bit. And to do that, I'm actually going to use a hot comb, which I've not really shown before. So we're going to use a hot comb to try to get that flatter. So we'll see what we can do. So the first thing I want to do is trim the bangs. And that I need to do on my head because I have to see if I put this on a mannequin head, they really are just poking me in the eyes. I run the risk of cutting them too short. So I need to adjust my camera, get a wig grip, and then we'll trim these bangs together. So hang tight. Okay, so for those of you new to the wig wearing journey, Wig grips can be really helpful to keep your wig securely on your head. This wig grip is going to make it so I can style it, I can mess around with it, and it's not going to slip and slide. I personally don't like the extra bulk, and I don't like something extra squeezing my head, so I don't usually wear wig grips, but a lot of wig sisters swear by wig grips. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a review of something called the hair grip. It's my favorite wig grip because I do use them with my headband wigs. I'll try to remember to link that too, but if I don't, just search Denise Sheets the hair grip and you'll find it. So when you're going to cut bangs, it's really important that you pin the hair out of the way that you don't want to cut. The last thing you want to do is accidentally cut, because none of this is growing back. So that's going to be critical. Now, another tip for you guys, if you haven't seen my video where I show you how to cut bangs in a wig that don't have bangs, I do that with the other lemon wigs wig I reviewed. It's a long wig, and I show you how to cut bangs, and there were no bangs in that one. So please check that out if you want to know more. But for now, this one has a template, which makes it a little bit easier. So my goal is just to make them a little bit shorter so they don't poke me in the eye. And quite honestly, I want to be careful because I want a little bit more lift in these bangs. They're really flat and lifeless. So I don't want to cut them too much because when I take heat to it and I try to fluff them up a little bit, they might wind up too short. My favorite tool for dealing with bangs is this. This is I often call it a razor comb. It's not a comb. It kind of looks like one, but it's a razor. It's a handled razor. It's for thinning and texturizing hair. And I love, love, love this. It really makes it easier to deal with wigs if you aren't good with hair. If you're not used to cutting hair, this helps a ton. I highly recommend it. I will link it in the description. I think every wig wearer needs something like this. And so what I like to do, because, and you know what, I didn't grab anything to put these fibers in, so I'll just kind of stick them on the counter here and hope they don't go down the drain. This is my kids' bathroom. They have a much bigger bathroom than I have, and so this helps me. Okay, so basically you're going to take this and you're just going to kind of go down like this. And I actually don't want, see the hair I got? I actually don't want a blunt cut. If you wanted a blunt cut, maybe you would use some scissors. I'm closing my eyes so that I don't get fibers in it because that hurts. I actually got a little bit extra hair in there that I didn't clip up, which is okay. It wasn't very much. So I like the way this sort of texturizes the ends too. It doesn't make them blunt, and it really, really helps it to lay more realistically. These blades dull super fast on synthetic hair. So it comes with 10 extra blades, and you can buy extras. And I did buy an extra 10. And so if you do this, it's hard for me to look at you guys while these are hanging in my eyes. If you do this and you find you have to saw really hard, it shouldn't take too much to go through the fibers, then change your blade, because that's an indication that it's getting dull, and these dull very fast on these fibers. So for that matter, do regular scissors. I think that's why some stylists, if they know anything at all about wigs, they won't work on synthetic wigs because they don't want to dull their super expensive shears, or they have a separate scissors for that. All right, so what I'm doing, as you can see, is I'm just sort of going through little bits at a time, and then I'm letting it lay to see how it's laying. Keeping in mind, I am going to take a hot airbrush to this, and it's going to get a little bit of lift, hopefully, and I don't want them too short. I think we're getting close. And I'm also looking, when I lift it up like this and drop it, I can see if it's kind of even a little bit with the layers, because this is putting some texturizing. It's not really layers, but it's texturizing the ends so it's not blunt, which is what I want. So when you work with your wigs, it's just a work in progress. I think we're getting closer. And you guys, you don't already know how to skip ahead in these, if you're on a mobile phone, just double tap forward and it will skip ahead 10 seconds, because I will sometimes speed these things up and sometimes I won't. And I usually have at least a couple people who don't like them to be sped up. They need every comment every second. So I'm choosing not to speed this one up and just to talk to you guys through it, so you can skip ahead. If this part, you've seen all you need to see. All right, you guys, can you see how much better that is? Let me show you how much I took off. That's what I took off. More than it seemed like I would have. But you can see much better. Now, obviously it looks silly because I have this back, but much better. I still have to work on the lift and all of that, but there we go. Okay. Next, I'm going to grab a hot air brush. So let me get that set up. All right, so when I use a hot air brush on a wig, I like to spray it with a little bit of water. It just helps, I think, create more of like a steam environment, and I think it works a little bit better. So because I'm going to use water, I'm not using heat protectant, and because I have some hair on me, I'm using my Hot Tools plastic barrel hot air brush. It's very low heat. This is actually really safe on regular synthetic even. So I'm going to start with this and see if it's enough. If it's not enough, I do have this Hot Tools that has boar's head bristles and metal, and it gets really hot. I may have to go to that. I try to avoid using boar's head bristles on synthetic wigs if I can, but I haven't really found a hot air brush that gets super hot and doesn't have those. So it's kind of a trade-off. Another option would be to use a hair dryer and get yourself a round brush that just has plastic bristles. I just recently bought these 3 different sizes for that purpose, but I'm not super great with using both hands, the hair dryer in one hand and the round brush in the other. So it's really not something I'm going to do on video because I'm really awkward, and maybe I'll get better. But we're going to start here because I think this is something everybody should own and everybody can use. I really think everybody can do this. Now, I have 2 of these. They're different sizes, as you can see. This is the 0.75. This is the 1.25, I think. They have a 1 inch, too, in the middle of these 2. I don't have that one. So I like to use this. This is the smallest one they carry. I will link these below. I get them on Amazon. You can find them potentially at Walmart. I just give you one place to go, and then you can shop around and see if you can find a better deal, or maybe you don't like to shop at Amazon. But that's easiest for me. And I do get a bit of a commission if you buy. I am an affiliate with them. It really just helps my channel. That's why I set it up. So any money I earn gets put back into this. I mean, that's why I own so many of these. That's why I bought so many of these. I don't really, as a wig wearer, need this much stuff. But for me to help you guys, I need this much stuff. So your purchases on Amazon help me, and I appreciate it so much. All right, let's get going on this. So I'm going to do the bangs. So I've got my water, and I don't want to get them sopping wet. So I'm just going to, well, I was just going to do my fingers, but I'll spray this. If you have a mister, even better, because then you're not going to get your hair so wet it will take too long for that hot air brush to work. Mine is not a mister. All right, so I'm going to turn it on high, and now I'm just going to, hold on for a second. I'm going to clip, where did my clips go? Some of this hair is just going to bother me, so I'm just going to clip this out of the way to begin with. And then I'll pull it back down because I want to make sure it's all incorporated together. But I really need to get started with these bangs. And I have got, I'm just going to cut some of this long hair that got wrapped in that because I don't want to bother trying to find it. Okay, so now I'm just doing what you think I'm doing. I'm just going to take the round brush and I'm going to try to get some lift out of this because they're very flat. Now normally you want to keep the heat moving on a wig, and I will, but I'm holding it because this isn't very high heat. And these are, I have a little bit more hair here. Normally, I think you'd want to pause and try to find where that hair came from and incorporate it back in. I'm not that worried about it, so that's why I'm doing it this way. This is really low heat. As you can see, I can hold my hand on it and it's not burning me. So that's why I'm holding it in place a little longer, because these wigs can take heat. See that, guys? Already getting some lift. It's important that you hold your, so synthetic wigs, these are kind of stiff fibers, as you can see. Synthetic wigs, in order for them to change their style, you have to hold it till it cools. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping some of that lift in as it's cooling. Now, once I get these the way I want them, I'm probably going to have to trim them up just a little bit more. Remember in the beginning, I had said I didn't want to trim them too much and then have them be too short. All right, so I am going to take a little more heat to it and start trying to get some lift in these parts too, but I want to cut these a little bit. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to use regular scissors just to do some little tiny trims. Let me see. I need to be able to see in this mirror, and I don't know how to do this with you guys. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but I have to pay attention. Because I don't want to cut my eye. Now you could keep going with the razor if you wanted to, but I'm doing like cleanup work here, and I really find that easier with the scissors. Just go slow, be careful. I've got fibers all over my face. I hope you guys are seeing a little bit of this. I guess I didn't look over to make sure I was in the camera. Something else you guys can do with the scissors like this is you can do some point cutting. I'm not great with scissors, so I'm just going really slow. And then after I cut some, I'm playing with this, trying to see how it's going to lay, because nothing will grow back. Synthetic fibers are very, very uncomfortable when they poke you in the eye. All right, I need to get a makeup brush and get these off my face. Hold on. All right, so next, I want to try to work on some of this, and I want to work on this curl pattern. So I am going to use a bigger hot air brush, and I'm just going to kind of see what happens. And if it's starting, what it's going to probably end up happening is I'm going to straighten this a little bit. Relax this curl pattern and this wave a little bit, and it's really can't be avoided. When you take heat to a synthetic wig, that's just what happens. That's why I'm not a fan of curly or wavy synthetic pieces. I like straight because they're easy to maintain. You do have to take heat to heat-friendly wigs periodically. You really can't avoid it. And I haven't really figured out how to do that without altering the curl pattern, which, you know, if you get a curly or wavy piece, you don't really want to alter the curl pattern. All right, so I'm just getting, like I said earlier, boy, I'm gonna have my work cut out for me with the hair in this bathroom. Like I said earlier, I want to get it a little damp because I think that works better. All right, so now, and I do want a little bit of lift here. And I may actually need a something that gets a little bit hotter. And I'm probably going to end up speeding some of this up because I don't want this video to be an hour long. But let's just see what starts happening over here, and then we'll go from there. But see, these don't get very hot, so I'm trying to make sure I'm warming these fibers up over here so that I can get some lift. They're definitely moving nicer now. Yeah, I'm afraid that this is just not going to be hot enough, so let me switch up my hot air brush, and then you can watch me at a little bit of a faster speed and get a sense of what I'm doing.
All right, I'm going to voice over this part. It's so complicated to find music that doesn't get you in trouble with YouTube, so instead of putting music here, I'll just talk to you guys. So like I said earlier, you can use a hair dryer and a round brush if you don't want to purchase a whole bunch of tools. If you're good at that, that will work just fine. Hair dryers can get quite hot. But here I'm holding it up. You need to hold the fibers till they cool a little bit. And I'm probably not holding it nearly long enough just because I'm trying to manage my time with you guys. Can you see the other side? It's smoothed out some and it's got some lift. So this is absolutely working. It's just a matter of time and learning techniques that will get you what you want. So now I'm flipping it to the other side. I'll talk about that here, I think, in just a second.
Okay, I wanted to come back and tell you guys something that I was just starting to do. So because I want a little bit more lift over here, which I also think will help on the top here, I'm going to take the hot air brush, I'm going to do it the opposite way that it lays so that when it comes back, I'll have some lift. So watch. Okay, so the fibers are hot, warm, and I'm going to just sort of let it kind of cool, going this direction. So then hopefully when I come back the other way, they will have some lift. Another option would be to take your hair dryer, if you have a cool shot, and put the cool shot on the fibers and cool them off faster. All right, so now get them back the other way. I definitely have some lift over here. You know what just occurred to me? I didn't take a before picture. Oh, darn. Oh, well, that's okay. It is what it is. I'm really upset, though. That's okay. So now, maybe I can get a screenshot from my review. Now you can see it has straightened a little bit, but that's better than the curl pattern that it had. So now, let's take this side and try to get a lift. So I'm going to take some of this hair and I'm just going to redirect it the other direction with the heat.
So I'm just going to speed it up real quick here. So this is only one example of what you can do. You can take a flat iron to this. There's all kinds of ways you can take heat to this. Whatever works best for you is what you should do. I'm just giving you one idea here.
Okay, so I'm still in the cooling process here. I don't know how to speed up a part of a video, so I had to, you saw me reach to the camera. I had to stop it and then start it again so I could speed up a little bit of that section. We're going to be here forever, you guys, if I don't do that. All right. Now, probably could have left it sitting there a little longer, but for the sake of time, if it were you guys working on your own wig, I would really make sure that it's cool. All right, look at that. I think it looks so much better. I mean, it's definitely still has work to do. I still have to kind of manage these bangs. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I have them right and then suddenly they're too long, but I really think it's looking a lot better. Don't you guys think it's looking a lot better? And it does shed, which I think I talked about in that video. Budget-friendly wigs just shed. That is just the reality. Maybe some don't, but most of the budget-friendly wigs I've ever gotten do some measure of shedding. I really don't think it's excessive shedding, but it's a fact. Okay, so I'm trying to decide if I even want to take a hot comb to that top section or not, because now that I've gotten a little bit of lift here, this doesn't look as poofy. The problem is there's a big plastic piece in here and that makes it a little poofy. But because I was able to get some lift on the hair around it, it's not so bad. Can you guys see I'm getting all sweaty? It's getting hot in here. I really think it's doing a lot better. So what I would do is I would just keep working on it a little bit till I think that it looks natural. I think it's pretty close to natural. I've relaxed those waves a little bit, but they're more symmetrical and they're not as funky. And nobody's hair is perfect on both sides, so I think that's a huge plus. The bangs are the one thing that I think I just have to keep working on, which is really hard to do on camera. So I'd prefer just to kind of call it a day. And hopefully you guys saw some of the things you were hoping to see. Let me just talk about the hot comb. Maybe I'll demonstrate it just a little bit. This one was going to be an experiment anyway. I didn't know if it was going to work. I'm just uncoiling it. Because I've never done it before. But I do see in the videos done by the women of color community, they use hot combs all the time to make the top look really flat. And I don't know if it is anything because of something like this or if it's just to make it look more natural. You know, our hair tends to be a little poofy around here. Like we often, well, Caucasian women, I'm really trying not to be offensive. I hope nobody's offended. Caucasian women, you know, like to get lift. They round brush their hair. They try to back comb their hair and get a little lift on top. And I think in the African American community, the more standard style is a lot flatter on top. So they use their hot comb to get that flatness. So that's what I was thinking might work on this. So this hot comb has a temperature setting on it. It's not, it's just, I think it goes from 1 to 20. I'm not really sure what the numbers stand for. So I try to keep it around 10 and see if that'll work. And then it's got an on-off button and a little stand. And that's basically it. So some ways, and it's still heating up because it's still flashing, but some of the ways people use it, you can just use the comb side of it if you want to. And you just sort of press down, or you can use the back side as well. So if you don't have a hot comb and you have a curling iron, try that with a curling iron. Because that's essentially what this side is like. And just, you know, if you've got some wigs that have some poof on the top and you don't like it, just try that. Now, because this has that plastic piece there, I can press on this and I don't feel even warm on my head. So this is working just fine. It's not going to burn me. I mean, I can't even feel the warmth. But all I'm doing is this little poofy plasticky piece, I'm just pressing on it. Just trying to make sure that if there's any way I can tamp down that poofiness, that I'm doing that. So I think between getting some lift on the sides and potentially, I'm not really sure if it's doing anything, but I do think it looks so much better, and I really think it's because I got some lift on the sides. But those are all techniques that you can use to try to work with your wigs, whether they're more expensive name brands or budget-friendly wigs. If you're struggling with something about them, I really think there's ways to fix it. Cutting into bangs, using hot air brushes to relax, to, you know, do something with the curl pattern, with the wave pattern. If it's straight, you want a little bit more of a curve under, hot air brushes can do that for you. Steam. I didn't show you steam in this video, but I do have my steamer just in case I needed it, and I don't think I'm going to. But if things are really challenging, you can always take steam to a wig. That'll really fix some fried ends. It'll straighten a wig. Let's say you have a curly wig and you don't like the curl pattern, or it's an old wig and the curls are starting to look really bad and you want to see how it would look as a straight wig. You can straighten it with heat. That'll be something I'll do in a future video. But I don't know if you guys can tell. Hopefully I can get a screenshot from my review so there could be a side by side. But I think it's looking so much better. It's definitely moving better. That heat really helped it to move a lot more naturally as well. So that's it, you guys. Let me know if you have questions. I'll link everything I can link in the description below, including some of the videos I mentioned earlier. Don't be afraid to play with your wigs. If you are on a budget especially, learn some of these things so that you can get some budget-friendly wigs and make them look fantastic. At the end of the day though, if I wasn't able to get this to look the way I wanted it to look, this is a perfect wig for headbands, bandanas, hats. You can wear it as your hat wig in the winter and put your winter hat over it. You can wear it with a baseball cap. You can tie a bandana around it. I showed that in my review, like kind of like the biker chicks do, you know, like I don't even know what it's called, do-rag. You know, I think you can make them work, so don't feel like all is lost. If you've got room to store a few wigs, put them in a plastic baggie, and then you've got some wigs for times when you don't want to damage one of your really good wigs. If you're going to be out on a boat or something and you don't want to take any of your regular wigs, you can throw a hat on this one and go out on a boat. You don't have to worry about it. So go to a bonfire with it, put a hat over it. I mean, I think there's some ways to make it work if none of these get it the way you want it. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll talk to you soon.